Kilkenny, if you know it, is a medieval city. It's great for tourists. You can stroll around seeing the old buildings on the medieval mile. But someone suggested to me that I could get a bit more out of Kilkenny if I booked a tour using my usual form of transport. Kilkenny cycling tours were open early on Sunday morning, and it was before the tourist season kicked off in earnest, so my ticket got me a tour with the full attention of the owner himself.
I love my hometown and I like talking about it, and it's very interesting, and so here I am making a living out of cycling around chatting. I lost my job in the recession in 2009 and I was unemployed and looking electrician. Yeah, I was in construction, and I was back. I always worked in Dublin or Cork or away. So I was back in Kilkenny and I wanted to make a new lease of life for myself in Kilkenny. And a friend of mine said to me, he saw the guy doing the walking tour, and he had about 30 or 40 people with him doing the walking tour and was pointing at castles and walls, and he said, you could do that. So I said, do you think so? And he says, yeah. So it came into my head, and then I went off and bought a couple of bikes and started a website, and I just started doing that, and 9-10 years later now I have 380 bikes in 4 stores and 15 staff.
Kilkenny is famous for a few things. It's on the River Nore, and it's also home to one of the best hurling teams in the country.
So we'll stop here at the statue, the hurling statue, this beautiful sculpture. It's dedicated to anybody who's ever played the sport of hurling for Kilkenny.
Kenny's shirt is catching the ball.
He is catching the ball, and he's clearly been fouled by that Tipperary guy, but he'll get his comeuppance once he comes down.
Kilkenny, as I say, is full of medieval buildings, and usually they have a story to go with them.
This building behind me, this was once the home of Kilkenny's most famous character, a lady by the name of Alice. You can see her name on the wall, Alice Kyteler. And Alice lived here in the 1200s and early 1300s, and it's one of those stories, you know, where she came from money and she was used to a certain lifestyle, and it became no surprise when she went and met and fell in love with one of the wealthiest guys in town, and everything was going fine and she couldn't be happier until suddenly one day in the prime of his life her husband died. All very, very sad, but he left all of his property and all of his money to Alice, so you know, every cloud, and she was very, very sad, but after a while she got over it and she met a new guy, and he was the 3rd richest guy in Kilkenny. So of course she fell in love and married this guy, and everything was going fine until suddenly one day he too died, and you see where this is going, yeah? So he left all of his property and all of his money to Alice, and to cut a long story short, 4 times Alice married.
Oh, no.
And every time she married, each guy was richer than the last, and every time she married him, they all died suddenly in the prime of their life, leaving all of their money and all of their property to Alice. So it didn't become at all suspicious until the year 1324. A guy came to the city named Bishop Richard Le Dread, and he said to the people of Kilkenny, do you not see what's going on here? She's killing these guys, she's taking their money. And the people of Kilkenny said, oh, we didn't think it was suspicious, because in those times we didn't have CSI Kilkenny. So so he demanded that Alice be tried for crimes of heresy and witchcraft for killing her husbands. Do you know what's involved if you're accused of being a witch? You know what they can do to you? Mm-hmm. They burnt, drowned, hung, and the date was set for the trial of the century. Alice was to be tried by fire. Not a very pleasant prospect. The date was set Sunday morning, November 1324, and everything was prepared. Alice was waiting her fate in the dungeons of the castle, and the townspeople marched up to the castle to get her and bring her down, but when they went to her cell, she was gone. Vanished, vamoosed, escaped, and she has used her magic powers to turn herself. If you were a witch, what would you turn yourself into? Something that would allow you to escape. A bird. Everybody says bird. I like a bird myself. It is believed that Alice used her magic powers to turn herself into a black cat. Being a black cat allowed her to slink out to the bars of the cell and down into the city and prey on the people who had betrayed her. And 700 years later, when you see a black cat roaming the streets of Kilkenny, that's believed to be Alice looking for a rich husband. So, are you rich, Ronan? No. You can see the cat today is one of the symbols of Kilkenny. Our sporting team is called the Cats. Today this is a tourist attraction. People come from all over the world to have a pint here, and lovely food, great music, and it's a really good place to meet rich men with short life expectancies.
The thing about being on the bike in Kilkenny is you can get right out into nature pretty swiftly.
2 minutes you're supping cappuccinos in the city centre in a lovely cafe, another 2 minutes and you're in the countryside, and all you can hear is birds. And in the river here we have some otters and foxes around. You'll see the kingfisher there. It's a real treat. You don't see him too often.
Have you ever seen the kingfisher?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Seriously?
Actually, I have a bounty on his head. I give anyone on my tour €1 if they spot it for me. So, and usually I don't have to pay out that €1, but it's worth it when I do. And there is a tree creeper. Looking at there, look on that. Look at that tree. See that bird?
Mm-hmm.
There's a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Tree creeper. That's cool, isn't it? Not that they're rare, but it's unusual.
During the last recession, Jason had to sell his house when his work as an industrial electrician dried up. He had to become self-employed, something he already had experience of.
Well, I had an early in my childhood. I was an entrepreneur. I'd go up to the local golf club and pick golf balls out of the bushes and sell them to the sport shops for 50p. Wash them up with Jif in a thing and wash them and bring them in and sell them to the sport shops and for 50p. And I had the guards calling to the door, "Can I get a dozen Max Fly off you there, please?" yeah.
The tour doesn't go smoothly. Jason keeps stopping to chat to locals, who themselves have a bit of history.
Yeah.
The flag over the GPO in 1916, and kind of people I never knew it.
Or some of the people Jason chats to have a bit of celebrity.
George Clooney.
This woman is related to George Clooney, apparently.
What's the George Clooney connection?
Well, you're Clooney, aren't you? Yeah, it's your Clooney's. Yeah. And George has promised to visit Kilkenny at some stage, hasn't he?
He has promised, but
Yeah.
is he ever?
Well, I don't know.
He's probably claiming ye, is he, rather than ye claiming him?
That could be it. Yeah.
So who's leading who now? The dog is leading the child and the child is leading you,
Yeah,
is that it?
she's in charge.
Brilliant. Yeah. How is my?
It's good. He's just at work.
It's not like work, Ronan. You're cycling around, having a chat, fresh air. Sometimes I bring my kids to school and then I go to work. Do days working, 2 hours, and collect them from school. It's a really nice lifestyle. I couldn't ask for better.
Jason Morrissey of Kilkenny Cycling Tours.